Aha. No. So just try to hold on. Hey. No. Hey. No. Hey. No. Shh. If you guys are subscribed to my channel, you have probably been waiting for a Squatch video update on his training series. So today I wanted to give you guys an update. This clip that you guys are watching right now is from training session number 4, and you guys can see a big difference. Because of that, I wanted to also do a recap of everything we have done so far and what is the plan going forward. So let's start with training session number 1. In that training session, Squatch was completely out of control. He bit his owners because he would not tolerate a muzzle. I had a very hard time getting anywhere near him, and every time I attempted, as you guys can see here, he would bite the leash, he was lunging, he was reactive from even just seeing someone from very far away. I had to improvise by keeping a chair in between us so that he couldn't bite me. I had to use 2 leashes, and he was fighting the entire time. This went on for a very long time, and we were all getting pretty exhausted. After trying everything that would have worked for any other dog that I would work with, it did not work for this 200-pound Tibetan Mastiff, and he would continue to fight and stand his ground, and relentlessly trying to get me. I was trying many different approaches and techniques to see what possibly could work for this dog, but he still would not give up. Even when it seemed like he was about to, he would charge at us again at any chance he got. But I was determined not to give up, like every other trainer prior to me had done. So I ended the session to go home and think of a way to approach Squatch for the next training session. That, of course, after giving the owners some instructions from a very far distance, as you guys can see here, and leaving him with some things to practice until we would see each other again. Then we met again for training session number 2. At this point, the owners had been able to follow instructions and had put a muzzle on Squatch. He was still ready to fight and attempting to bite even with the muzzle on. He was completely unapproachable. But at least now I would be able to get closer to him without getting bit, thanks to the muzzle. We now would work on trying to get him to tolerate having me next to him. So that's why we have the 2 leashes. The owner can keep him from getting too close to me, and I can still remain side by side with him. Eventually, after a lot of work, we were able to walk side by side. He was still very much on the defensive, keeping an eye on me at all times. We kept practicing this for a little while to see if he would get more comfortable with me, and then we went on to trying to touch him. Now, the reason that this is so important is because Squatch has never been this close to anyone. No stranger has ever been able to touch him, so he's getting away with his defensive nature, which is of course very common for his breed. So the goal is not to get him to just be happy-go-lucky with everybody, but having me approach him and physically touch him would make him way more desensitized to at least be able to pass by people without constantly lunging out of control and trying to bite everybody. People don't have to touch him, they don't have to be friends with him, but we want him to tolerate at least passing by people while the owner is in control of the leash. And so this approach can certainly help with that. After a lot of work, I was finally able to touch him. But unlike the majority of dogs that I work with, Squatch did not get desensitized to me being near him that easily, even after getting my hands on him. So we had to meet again for session number 3. And as you guys can see here, he was more approachable, but since I came to take the leash from the owner, that was a whole nother step for him, and he was ready to fight. If you guys have seen that video, he was relentless trying to get me. It was what I labeled my craziest training session ever. I have used this approach time and time again with thousands of dogs. You guys can see that throughout my entire channel, where I just take the dog over from the owner, and this approach is very effective to gain control over the dog and put them in a position where they at least surrender to me, so that I can then start to give them instructions, and I can work closely with the owners to be able to teach the owners what they need to do, which is mainly the reason why I ever take a dog from the owner's hand, because the owners have so much to learn, and if I have to be shouting at them from a distance to give them instructions, especially with a dog this powerful, and most of the dogs that I work with, which are, you know, reactive, strong dogs, it's not very effective. However, Unlike with many other dogs that I work with, this approach did not go as smoothly with Squatch. As you guys can see, eventually I had to grab a stick because he would not give up and he was actively trying to bite me. And trust me, even with a muzzle, this dog is very much capable of hurting me. So I have a stick to try to keep him from getting to me. Eventually I had to get this piece of plywood that was laying there, and finally I was able to walk side by side with him for the first time on my own, keeping this barrier in between us. After this long, chaotic training session, I was hopeful that everything that I had done so far throughout the 3 training sessions, that it would pay off for the next time I would see Squatch. Which I would say that it did, because what you guys are seeing right now is us in training session number 4. And what you guys don't see is that when I first meet Squatch in every training session, he, although is still reactive, of course, because his training is still ongoing, he's a lot less reactive. He's a lot more under control. The owners have a lot more of a good understanding of what is going on, how Squatch feels, what they need to do, how to redirect him, etc. And again, I wanted to remind everybody that the end goal here is not to make Squatch cuddly with me or anyone else for that matter. Instead, is to literally have this that you guys see right now, have him be able to be around people. Now, the reason that we haven't even gotten further with the training so far and made even more progress is because I have been insisting on getting close to Squatch myself, because I truly believe when I can work closely with the dog, hands-on with the dog, holding the leash, we're able to make a lot more progress. So here's what you all have to look forward to in the next training sessions with Squatch. First, we're going to show you how all of this training pays off in real life, meaning the distractions that Squatch was not able to tolerate before, how much more control the owner has, different places that they're able to take Squatch in different situations, and feel safe handling him because of all of this training. I'm also going to be sharing some very creative and out-of-the-box techniques that I'm going to be still implementing in this training to get further results, better results, and get closer to Squatch. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.